Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our focus group discussion titled Spend or Save, choosing between self-reward and practical living. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that there are no right or wrong answers here. We just want to understand your personal views, experiences, and opinions. Now, let's start with our first question. Do you believe it's important to reward yourself with things you want, even if they're not essential? Why or why not? Yes, Miss Luna.
I believe it's more important to be practical and save your money for the future than to spend it on treats and rewards for yourself. Just like the theory of an ancient philosopher named Epicurus. Epicurus would say that the deepest happiness comes from satisfying the natural and necessary desires and being content with simple pleasures. The problem with constantly rewarding yourself with non-essential things, which is the natural but unnecessary desires, is that it creates a trap. You never feel truly satisfied, and you always need the next new thing to feel happy, which keeps you in a cycle of spending and wanting.
Thank you, Miss Luna, for sharing your opinion. Does anyone else want to share their thoughts or add something to that? Yes, Miss Diego.
With all due respect po to Luna's opinion, I strongly disagree. While practicality and saving are undeniably important, completely denying yourself non-essential rewards isn't the path to true well-being. It's actually a path to burnout. Rewarding yourself is not about feeding greed. It's about nourishing motivation, balance, and self-worth. Denying yourself every non-essential desire may give you financial security, but at what cost? Money is meant to serve life, not the other way around. Constant self-denial can lead to emotional fatigue, decreased motivation, and even resentment toward your own goals. A person who never rewards themselves eventually forget why they are working so hard in the first place. So yes, for me it is important to reward yourself even with things that aren't essential, because self-reward fuels joy, reinforces positive behavior, and remind us that life's meaning is not just found in survival, but in celebration. True balance is not saving everything for the future. It's actually learning to live well in the present while preparing wisely for what's ahead. So, that's all lang po.
Okay, thank you, Miss Diego. Now, let's proceed. How do you usually decide whether to spend money on something you deserve or save it for future needs? Yes, Miss Capella.
I think that spending money on something you deserve is just as important as saving for your future needs. After all, what's the point of working hard if you can't enjoy the fruits of your effort? Rewarding yourself keeps you motivated and reminds you that your sacrifices are worth it. But that doesn't mean you can keep on spending carelessly. You also need to be smart or wise and know your limits. Saving is important for emergencies, security, and long-term goals. But life is also about balance. We can't predict the future, so why not make the most of the present while still being responsible? In the end, the best choice isn't choosing one over the other, but maintaining the balance between that happiness and financial stability. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Brenna. Anyone else want to share their side? Yes, Mr. Magaling.
For me, that is very difficult to truly find a healthy balance between enjoying money and being financially responsible. People are emotional spenders. We tend to reward ourselves after hard work or follow trends just to feel satisfied. Even with budgeting, unexpected bills, emergencies, or price increases can ruin our financial plans. While it is important to enjoy life, the truth is that saving requires discipline and sacrifice. Many people end up spending more than they should because society tells us to live in the moment. So, finding a perfect balance sounds ideal, but in real life, it is often unrealistic. We either spend too much trying to be happy or save too much and forget to live. That's for me. Thank you.
Okay, now let's proceed. What does being practical with money mean to you? Yes, Miss Gaviola.
Knowing you have control over your finances, you will be less stressed because you don't need to think where you will get some money if something happens. Like when there is an emergency or unexpected expenses. With stable finances, you can have the freedom to help others, especially your family and friends when they are in need of financial assistance. Also, you can have the freedom to choose what you want because you can afford it. If you have goals of traveling in other countries, wanting to build a home, and buying a car in the future, you can do it since you have savings or money for them. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gaviola. Now let's proceed. Do you think spending on self-care or luxury items can also be considered practical in some ways? Yes, Ms. Mariane.
For me, yes, I think spending on self-care or luxury items can also be considered practical in some ways. An example is that when it supports the well-being, confidence, and productivity of a person. It is important to take care of oneself to prevent burnout and the negative effects of stress. It also boosts motivation and can improve how one shows up in his or her personal and professional life. It should be done mindfully and responsibly because spending on self-care or luxury items is not just indulgent. It is also an investment in a person's overall balance and happiness. Also, for me, treating myself once in a while makes me feel appreciated and motivated. It is like rewarding myself for all the hard works I've done. These little acts of self-care remind me that I deserve to enjoy the things I love and that it is okay to prioritize myself sometimes. Because in the end, it's not just about being materialistic. It is about valuing my well-being and finding joy in the things that make me feel good and inspired.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share their ideas? Yes, Mr. Juanico.
In my opinion, spending on self-care or luxury items may seem rewarding but is not truly practical. These purchases often cater more to temporary satisfaction than long-term value, diverting funds that could be used for more essential or income-generating purposes. While taking care of oneself is important, practicality lies in finding affordable, sustainable ways to do so, rather than investing in branded or high-end items that depreciate quickly. True financial discipline means distinguishing between needs and wants, and luxury spending, no matter how justified, rarely aligns with that goal.
Thank you. Now let's proceed. Have you ever regretted spending money on something you thought you deserved? What happened? Yes, Miss Luna.
Um, as a nursing student, every peso I spend is weighed against the pressure of my tuition and my family's financial stability. So when I'm told it's important to reward myself with non-essentials like clothes, foods, or beauty products, I have to disagree based on painful experience. I've spent that money believing I deserved it. I deserved it after a difficult week, only to be met with immediate regret. That fleeting happiness from a new purchase is a poor trait for the lingering anxiety of knowing I've compromised my financial safety net. This isn't just about a personal choice, it's a lesson in priority.
Thank you, Miss Luna. Now let's proceed for what's one thing you bought that made you feel truly happy and not guilty afterward? Yes, Miss Malyare.
For me, the one thing that I've bought that made me feel truly happy and not guilty afterward is my stethoscope. As a nursing student, it is a very important tool that I use almost every day, especially when we have our clinical duties. Buying it made me feel proud because it's not just an ordinary item. It represents my journey toward becoming a registered nurse. Every time I use it, I'm reminded of why I chose this path and how much I've worked to get here. It also motivates me to study harder and do my best during my clinical duties. Having my dream stethoscope makes me feel more prepared, confident, and professional. It is a practical investment that supports my learning and future career. More than that, it also symbolizes my dedication to helping others and my dream of making a difference in people's lives. And that's why I'll never feel guilty about buying it. It is something that truly adds value and meaning to what I do. That's all.
Now let's proceed. In your opinion, is saving money always the wiser choice? Why or why not? Does anyone have a different point of view? Yes, Mrs. Gutierrez.
I respect Miss Gabriola's perspective, but in my own opinion, saving money isn't always the wiser choice. What's the point of saving so much if you will never allow yourself to enjoy the fruits of your efforts? There are moments in life that don't wait: birthday, trips, time with loved ones, or simply rewarding yourself after working so hard. When you keep saying no to yourself after working so hard, everything you save, you might end up with full of wallet but empty heart for not giving yourself the things you're craving for and less joyful moments. You can keep saving money for the perfect time to enjoy, but what if that time will never comes? So it's a no for me. Saving isn't always a wiser choice. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Gobiola. Now let's proceed for last question. How can people find a healthy balance between enjoying their money and being financially responsible? Yes, Ms. Lupena.
I believe people can enjoy their money and still be financially responsible. It's all about balance. We work hard, so it's only fair to treat ourselves sometimes. But at the same time, we have to think ahead and save for our future and emergency needs. Being financially responsible is to plan wisely by setting aside that money for savings and prioritize important expenses first. And then use that extra money that's left for your own happiness.
Thank you, everyone, for your thoughtful and honest answers. We've seen today that spending and saving aren't enemies. They're two sides of the same coin. In the end, the real key seems to be balance, knowing when to save for tomorrow and when to live for today. Once again, thank you all for sharing your insights and experiences. This concludes our focus group discussion on spend or save, choosing between self-reward and practical living.